Helen Avery Rogaine is still one of the top searches associated with my name and with my channel. Even though I don't really make Rogaine or Minoxidil videos anymore, I'm going to tell you why. I'm Helen, I'm a writer, and maybe you want to sign up for my newsletter, helenavery.substack.com. It's totally free, but what I would encourage you to watch after you watch this video, if you're interested in my content, is maybe just watch one of my videos. I'll put up lots and lots to choose from about some of the other content I make. I talk about like Sephora, how to get like great samples from there. I talk about different makeups I've been testing and loving. I have a whole bunch of content that's outside of the realm of Rogaine, and if you're interested, I suggest you check that out. So I think the best way to approach this story is to do it maybe in chapters. So let's start with chapter 1, which is a bit about my backstory here. So the whole reason that I'm associated with Rogaine and Minoxidil is because I've made a lot, and I mean a lot, of videos on this subject. Everything about like my own experience, my journey using it, why I started using it, my results, how to best use it, etc. and so forth. And so maybe you've seen some of those videos, and maybe that's why I'm a familiar face to you right now. The reason I started using it, though, was because, and not everybody knows this, but because I had gone through breast cancer, I had gone through chemotherapy, which made all my hair fall out. My hair grew back in quite nicely, actually, into like this nice sort of pixie that I was very eager for it to grow quickly because I did not love the high maintenance of a pixie haircut. What happened about 1 year after chemotherapy, though, is that I developed a really big bald spot. And so I used Rogaine, the foam, to grow it back in. And it did a really effective job in doing so. And so I had actually was already starting YouTubing and making beauty videos well before I started using Rogaine. That wasn't actually the beginning. The beginning of my channel was like eyeliner and like eyeshadow and stuff like that, and like moisturizer that I really loved. And it's kind of funny because it kind of come full circle to some of those things. I still use some of those products that I loved so many years ago. But like what happens to many YouTubers, and what happened to me as well, is that, you know, the Rogaine videos started to really pick up popularity. People were very curious. Not a lot of women then were talking openly about using it. I mean, since then, we've had like your Jennifer Lopez's who have, you know, worked with, I can't remember who she worked with, but, you know, she says she openly uses like minoxidil type products. This was a different environment where it was very kind of shameful almost. And there were just weren't a lot of women, I think. You know, there were a few, but not that many who have had success using Rogaine. There were some who had tried it and didn't like it or didn't get that much of an effect. But there just sort of wasn't that many videos, as I recall anyway, that were competing with what I was making. And those really started to take off. Those videos still have so many views, so many views compared to my subscriber count. And it was a very transactional way of making videos in a way. Like I would make them, people would enjoy them, watch them, learn, and then leave. And so they would not be subscribing because I guess they got what they came for and they were out. And that's fine. So chapter 2, and maybe why you clicked on this and what you really want to know, is why did I stop making them? Listen, I made over 500 videos. The vast majority were about hair loss, Rogaine, Minoxidil, and some about Viviscal and other kind of products that I used, and quite a few shampoo reviews that are sort of through the lens of someone who has hair damage and hair loss. Right now, I don't have that many videos up. The 500 that I had, many, I have unlisted them, which is sort of a way of making them semi-private. That means if you have the link somewhere or you have a playlist, you can still watch them, but generally speaking, if you're just like combing through my page, they're not visible. And I just decided I didn't want all that much out there of myself. It's not that I'm not proud of the subject matter. It's just like I wanted to offer up a more curated experience of the sort of top performing videos that I thought would still really benefit people and take away the ones that I thought were just kind of noise and didn't really contribute anything to the bottom line. So the real answer about why I pretty much stopped, I'd say even a year ago, I was making more videos about just like hair loss news and not so much specifically Rogaine and Minoxidil. And I'm curious if you can guess why I stopped. It wasn't actually the trolls. It wasn't, you know, because I get a lot of those. Like, unfortunately, YouTube is full of sociopaths and they will say the meanest, most degrading things to you. And all you're doing is sharing like really vulnerable parts of your story and like trying to help people with like free advice. Just the comments alone on my appearance would shock you. Even from people that are like established YouTubers. You know, I had someone leave a comment, and they themselves have a sizable audience, definitely bigger than mine, saying that, what happened to your hair? It looks like you don't even use Rogaine anymore. And it's like, are you kidding me? I'm just wearing my hair a little bit differently. I have plenty of hair now. Like, it's just, people are the worst. What can I say? Having had made that many Rogaine and Minoxidil videos, I just then and now have kind of run out of things that are new or interesting or helpful to say. So if I can't add something new or helpful or interesting and build on this sort of huge body of work and videos, hundreds and hundreds of hours, I'm just not going to make a video on that. And also, in addition to me sort of maxing out on what I could say on that subject, I changed as well, which is something that is really hard to do here on YouTube. Like, people want you in your niche. And look at any YouTuber. If you don't believe me, look at any YouTuber you like their stuff. Let's say they make videos on mascara. Let's just say they concentrate on mascara. The one time they make a foundation video instead of like a mascara video, that video is not going to do as well. And that is the painful nature of the YouTube algorithm, and also what your audience wants from you as well. So those things kind of go together. But like in those years that I started making Rogaine videos, and that was a very effective topical medication for me, what ended up happening was that I changed. Like, once I sort of stopped having hair loss as this major impactful issue in my life, once it was kind of resolved and very much on top of with the success of using that product, I didn't necessarily only want to make videos about that. Like, I am a human with a very rich lived experience, as are all of you, and there's more to my life than just my story of hair loss. I was so lucky to survive cancer, and now I'm back in sort of normal life, whatever that is. But, I love products. I love talking about fashion. I love fashion history. I am someone with an appetite for learning about all kinds of stuff. And when I learn about stuff, I love to share it. So I am grateful to have this platform here. And that is what I've been trying to do all along. It's just very difficult when everybody just wants this sort of type of knowledge from you, and you maxed out on what you can say about that, and you want to move on because it's been 5+ years in my case, but it's just hard to do so. So chapter 3 of my story about why I've stopped making so many videos just about Rogaine and Minoxidil is that I even quit the YouTube space back in January. I think it might have even been December 2022/January 2023. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm done. I was really fed up at that point. For those of you who don't make YouTube videos, I'm sure that you have seen many, many creators that you like attempt to leave. But the problem is, when you've been making videos so long, it doesn't always stick. It's sort of like when Tom Brady went back. I know that didn't end up very successful, so perhaps that is not the best analogy. But when it happened was I quit. I was like, I'm done. Too many trolls. YouTube is punishing me for not making videos that are sort of in the hair loss realm anymore. I don't want to keep testing shampoos because they damage my hair. I really want to keep using like my holy grail products. I don't want to just be the person who only talks about hair loss and shampoo all the time. There's so much more going on with me. I switched to vlogs a little bit. Those were so gratifying to make. One of my happiest times on YouTube was making vlogs, but I realized they're just so labor intensive. They just take up all your time, all your bandwidth. It's hard to concentrate on your actual job if you want to make vlogs. But what I didn't realize when I did quit was that I actually like making videos. If you remember that goodbye video, which I've since unlisted, by the way, but if you do remember it, I never once said I hated making videos or that was such a slog. I didn't love the long editing process that comes after all of them, especially when you're vlogging. Oh my goodness, the editing for that is crazy. If the vlog is 1 hour, the editing could be like 10 times that. You could be spending 10 hours editing like one vlog. Did not enjoy that. Still don't really enjoy the editing, but the actual chatting and sharing of things that I love, that has not changed. That never dissipated. And I didn't realize that I'd have this strong pull to do that until my family and I went to Palm Springs, and then I made a little travel video and I put it up just for like family and friends, and then some other people were watching it. I'm like, gosh, I really miss making videos to share with people. And so now and again I would make them, and then one thing leads to another, and then you're talking about like your favorite holy grail like makeup products again, which is a recent video. So I will link that up if you're interested in seeing what my sort of non-hair holy grail products are these days. So chapter 4 of this story, do I still use Minoxidil and Rogaine? Because this is still a question that I get over on Instagram, even though I'm only very minimally on Instagram. But the answer is, yeah, I still do have to use it. I have to use Rogaine and Minoxidil. I'm really worried that all my hair will fall out again if I don't, because once you're in with this kind of stuff, it's like toothpaste. You're not ever going to stop using toothpaste. You're kind of in when you start using Minoxidil. If it's effective for you, you got to keep using it to keep the gains. Some people stop and they've had luck doing that. I'm not going to do that. I'm a little bit worried to do that. The way I use it now is I use it less Monday, Wednesday, Friday instead of every single day, which is what I had done for years and years and years. I just want to see where we are, but I'm not sure that's even that effective. I've gone down to just the 3 days a week, and I've definitely had more hair loss in July. I really noticed having a lot, and I've never had a lot of hair loss before in July. That is usually my no hair loss or minimal hair loss month. I still do use the men's. I still do use the foam. Chapter 5, transitioning to different types of content beyond hair loss, beyond shampoo and conditioner reviews, and beyond the like supplement for hair loss type reviews. This has been less than successful for me, and I'm very happy to admit it, but there's been a major silver lining, which is that with these newer videos that have admittedly much lower views, which I am okay with, I get to almost speak more freely in a way. I don't have to police myself so much, because a big problem with my older videos is that I would get so many mean comments, and I have talked to you about that before. And everyone's like, blow it off, blah, 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 you know, don't let it get to you, just delete it when you see it. And you can do all those things, but most of us are not built to absorb sociopathic comments day in, day out. If I were a YouTuber making, you know, $100,000 a year on ad revenue and maybe another 100 on sponsored content, I wouldn't care what people would say. Not only that, I would be able to afford to pay someone to moderate those comments for me. But when you're sort of a smaller creator, that's the last thing you want to face. Like just terrible, terrible, mean things. I won't even say some of them, but they are just the depths of sociopathy dragged from the bowels of hell. Like, who writes these things? I wouldn't write this stuff to literally my worst enemy. But unfortunately, and studies have shown that it is truly sociopaths who write those kinds of comments to people. Yes, it's not just people who are bored or don't have enough to do. No, these are truly antisocial people that try and stir the pot. And that was a big problem for me. And when I sort of quit about Rogaine and Minoxidil, that stopped being such an issue, because not as many people are watching the content I make now, and the ones that are there like me. They're interested in what I have to say, because I'm not just, it's not transactional anymore. They're sort of there more for my personality, if that makes sense. So it's been really cool to sort of crack this nut open and have such a much more healthy and positive experience here. You know, even with even reaching a smaller number of people, that's fine by me, because I finally get to sort of talk about the things that interest me, because I think when they interest me, they may interest you as well. That was all quite heavy, maybe a little bit more in depth than I kind of maybe wanted to share, you know, oversharing. And overshare, it's kind of a thing I tend to do over here. So I had mentioned I've made all kinds of new content, and I do hope that after you watch this video, you kind of dig into some of that, because I think that you might like it, even if it's not in the realm of like shampoo testing and hair loss. You know, I've talked about like different foundations. I've talked about Jessica Simpson being called fat in the year 2009, even though when you look at her now, she looks great. I made that video, and I'm really proud of that, because I felt like I kind of stood up for a woman who's still getting shamed about her weight. Like now she's too thin. Apparently she can't win. So you could check that video out. You know, I have one again on Sephora coupon codes. You could check that one out. There's just hopefully a real depth and breadth of video types that may appeal to you, that are just beyond the stuff that I used to talk about, because I feel like they reflect my life and they reflect real life as well. So with that said, I hope you don't unsubscribe now that you've seen this. I'm not even saying I'll never talk about Rogaine or Minoxidil again. You know, this is part of my life, and when it comes up and it feels pertinent to talk about, I will be sharing about that again. Like, I switched to 3 days a week. What is going to be the long-term effect of that in a year? I don't know. But when I find out, I will let you guys know here in this space, provided that I don't lose my mind and quit YouTube again. You know, I may, but I'm not planning to. So thanks so much for watching. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. Go ahead and give this a like and consider subscribing. I haven't even bothered saying that in, I don't know, 3/4 of a year or something like that. So if you like this, be sure to stay tuned. I'm going to put up another video for you to watch now.